Before gods, before mortals, there was only chaos.
An endless void, formless and infinite, waiting for the first spark of creation.
From the heart of chaos, the first light was born. Light gathered upon itself, and from light came form.
Gaia, the Earth Mother, emerged, the foundation of all that would exist in Greek myth.
From her broken skin, rivers, forests, and mountains rose.
Gaia, Uranus, the sky, stretched his body, embracing the earth. Together they birthed a generation of powerful beings, the Titans.
First rulers of the cosmos, wielded primal power over land, sky, and sea.
Among them, Cronus, the ambitious Titan, rose as king. His grip on the universe was as unyielding as stone.
Yet Gaia, who had birthed him, felt dread at the cruelty in his heart.
Prophecy that his own children would overthrow him, Cronus chose a terrible path. Each time a child was born, he swallowed them whole, erasing their future.
The Earth Mother wept, knowing that creation was devouring itself.
Sister and queen could not bear to lose another child. She fled to a secret cave at the edge of the world.
There, she deceived Cronus, offering him a stone instead of their newborn son. Blinded by paranoia, he swallowed the stone, believing the threat was gone.
But Zeus, the child of destiny, was hidden away, nurtured in secret.
One day, he would rise to claim the heavens themselves.
Olympus, future home of the gods, waited silently in the sky.
As he grew, Zeus learned to command the storm itself. Burned a question. Would he repeat his father's cruelty or break the cycle?
Child of earth and sky, you must end Cronus's reign.
When the time came, Zeus descended from hiding to confront his father. Cronus ruled from a fortress of fear, his throne surrounded. But the child he thought gone had returned, no longer helpless. Father and son, two generations of power, finally faced each other. Their battle shook the very bones of the world. In the end, even Titans must bow to fate. Zeus cast the Titans into Tartarus, a prison at the world's deepest root. From his fall, those he had swallowed were freed, the new gods of Olympus. Brothers and sisters, reborn into their true power. Together, they claimed Olympus and began a new order of gods. At their head stood Zeus, Lord of Thunder, King of the gods. weapon, the lightning itself then. The will of the sky is made clear.
Beside him, Hera, queen of the gods, guardian of marriage and family.
Behind her calm gaze lay fierce loyalty and storms of emotion.
Olympus became a city of light above the clouds, each god holding sway over a part of existence.
Poseidon, lord of the seas, held dominion over every wave and storm. With a single strike of his trident, he could calm the ocean or shatter it. Beneath the surface lay a kingdom few mortals would ever see.
Hades, his brother, ruled a darker realm, the kingdom of the dead.
He was not evil, but unyielding, the keeper of all endings.
Through his realm flowed the Styx, the boundary no soul could cross twice.
Charon, the ferryman, guided souls across for a price.
Athena, goddess of wisdom and war strategy, favored those who used reason over rage. Her symbol, the owl, watched the world with unblinking clarity.
Apollo, radiant god of the sun, music and prophecy, brought light wherever he walked. His songs could calm storms in the sky and in the hearts of mortals. Artemis, twin sister of Apollo, walked the wilderness as its protector and hunter.
Her arrows never missed, guided by both instinct and the silent wisdom of the wild.
From the sea's foam came Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty.
Her presence stirred hearts, inspiring tenderness, desire, and sometimes ruinous obsession.
Hermes, the swift messenger, traveled faster than thought between gods and mortals. As into human ears, trade routes, clever tricks, even the first jokes. Below the clouds, mortals lived their brief lives under the gaze of the gods.
In temples and homes, they offered prayers and gifts, hoping for favor or mercy. From above, the gods watched, guiding, testing, and sometimes meddling in human fate.
Yet the world of Greek myth was never truly quiet.
In hidden caves and deep forests, creatures beyond mortal understanding stirred. Some were born from chaos itself, shaped by fear and imagination. Hydras, minotaurs, winged horses, monsters and marvels, woven into every tale.
On Olympus, the gods convened to decide how this world of wonders would be ruled. Zeus declared a new order. Each god would guard their domain, keeping chaos at bay.
Seas fell to Poseidon, restless and powerful as his own temper.
The unseen realm of the dead was given to Hades, who accepted his role without complaint.
Cities, law and wisdom were Athena's charge. Not just swords, but ideas.
Apollo's light would mark the passage of days, inspiring art, healing, and vision.
Forests and wild places belonged to Artemis, sanctuary for beasts and those who respect them. Aphrodite's unseen hand tied hearts together, for better or for tragedy.
Hermes ran along every road, carrying messages, trade, and mischief. For a time, balance seemed possic, each power holding its place. But in Greek myth, order never lasts forever. Somewhere in the depths, something far older was waking. Mortals felt it first, a pressure in the air, like a breath being drawn before a shout.
Even in the underworld, Hades felt the roots of the earth tremble.
Across the seas, Poseidon sensed tides growing restless beyond his command.
Zeus, Lord of the Thunder, realized that something ancient from beneath the Earth Mother's deepest wounds, an older terror stirred. Even Gaia, giver of life, could not fully control what slept inside her.
On the surface, mortals felt the first violent shudders of Typhon's awakening. Even the high halls of Olympus were not beyond his reach. The gods gathered, knowing this threat was unlike any they had faced before. If he faltered now, the world he had rebuilt from Titan ruin would fall.
Strategy and courage, Athena's gifts, would guide the gods in this coming war.
Poseidon drew upon the full force of the seas, bending every wave to his will.
Sun and moon, twin gods Apollo and Artemis, prepared to strike as one. Hermes raced across the world, summoning every ally they could muster.
Even Hades, who rarely left his realm, came forth, not for love of Olympus, but to protect the balance of all souls.
Typhon rose like a living mountain, crowned with a storm of serpents and rage.
Zeus struck first, hurling the full fury of the sky at the ancient beast.
But Typhon's storm met the lightning, twisting it into something wild and unnatural. Athena's shield turned chaos aside, buying the gods precious moments. From below, Poseidon commanded waves tall as mountains to crash against the beast. Water and storm shattered against ancient flesh, but Typhon did not fall. Sunlight and moonlight answered, a rain of arrows aimed at the beast's many eyes. Yet his heads moved like lightning, devouring their attacks before they could pierce his heart.
Quickly, form up here! Move!
Hermes turned chaos into coordination, weaving the lesser gods into a living battle pattern.
From the underworld, Hades sent forth the strength of countless souls, binding the monster's steps. For every bond he broke, more rose to take its place. Forged from the Gaia watched in conflict, torn between the child of her depths and the gods who now ruled her surface.
Realizing brute force was not enough, Zeus gathered every spark the heavens could offer for one final strike.
For a heartbeat, even the storm seemed to hold its breath. Then the sky roared, and light tore through the mountain of flesh and shadow. Piece by piece, the ancient terror fell, broken but not destroyed. Together, they forged a prison of rock and light, binding Typhon beneath a newborn mountain.
Each god left their mark upon the seal, a pact of vigilance that would last for ages.
When the storm passed, the world was scarred, but still standing.
Victory had a price, written into the land itself. Remnants of older wars resurfaced, reminders that power always breeds conflict.
Yet mortals did what they always do. They rebuilt, carrying on beneath the gaze of the gods. In Olympus, they vowed to watch more carefully for the whispers of ancient chaos. Hades returned to his kingdom, burdened with more souls and more secrets than before.
The underworld's waters grew still, but they carried echoes of the battle in their depths.
He ruled a realm where every story ends. Yet even he wondered. Cerberus, guardian between worlds, stood ever watchful over the dead.
Every soul carried a story, a memory of love, fear, courage, and regret. Above them, the living walked on, rarely thinking of the realms beneath their feet.
In shadowed places, new nightmares stirred, like the many-headed hydra lurking in poisoned marshes. Each head was a threat of its own, but together they became a legend that would demand a hero.
On the island of Crete, a twisting maze held another terror, the bull-headed Minotaur. Half man, half bull, a creature born from divine punishment and human pride. Not all creatures were monstrous. Some, like Pegasus, were symbols of hope and freedom. To ride such a steed was to touch the sky itself, a gift reserved for rare heroes. Other beings, like the Sphinx, guarded secrets and riddles, testing the minds and fates of those who passed by. Monsters and marvels filled the Greek world, each waiting for a story to shape them. The gods saw these beings as pieces on a great board, obstacles or allies in tales yet unwritten.
Athena, ever the strategist, began to imagine how mortals might face such threats.
Zeus wondered if giving mortals a chance to stand against monsters might shape them into something more than fragile shadows.
Hera saw mortals as messy and unpredictable, their passions both beautiful and dangerous. Yet in the eyes of children, the gods saw something familiar.
Across the cities and villages, mortals trained, not knowing which of them would become legends.
Among them was Heracles, a child of both mortal and divine blood, stronger than any of his peers. Zeus watched his son, knowing that strength alone would not be enough for the trials ahead. Elsewhere, Perseus honed his skill and agility, destined to face horrors no mortal should see.
He had caught the eye of Athena, who favored minds and hands that moved with purpose.
Achilles, swift-footed and almost invulnerable, was forged on the edge of sea and war.
His mother's love wrapped him in near invincibility, though no blessing is ever without its crack.
Odysseus, not the strongest but perhaps the cleverest of all, shaped his world with ideas as much as with swords.
The gods began to see mortals not as background, but as pieces capable of changing the game.
Some, like Hera, struggled with the idea of heroes born from the gods' own mistakes and infidelities.
Even before their deeds, stories of gods and monsters passed from mouth to mouth, ready for heroes to step into them.
In children's games, the first seeds of legend were planted.
For a moment, after Typhon's fall, peace seemed possible. A fragile calm.
Zeus knew that even if great monsters slept, the greatest stories were yet to come. Heroes would rise to face monsters, challenge the will of gods, and carve their names into the fabric of myth.
Heracles would walk many roads, each marked by impossible labors.
To Hera, he was a reminder of betrayal and a test of what justice truly meant.
His strength would wrestle monsters into legend, turning beasts into symbols of his might.
From victory, he gained a mantle, the lion's power worn upon his back.
Some labors were not about killing monsters, but cleansing what no one else could face.
Even Hera, from her throne of wounded pride, could not deny the good he brought. Many-headed dangers waited for him, born from the same chaos the gods had barely contained.
Strike one down, and more would rise, a lesson that some problems multiply when attacked without thought.
Wisdom, not only strength, would carry him through labors that brute force could not solve.
Each trial carved deeper lines into his spirit, shaping a hero as flawed as the gods who watched him.
Elsewhere, on windswept shores, another story began. The tale of Perseus.
Raised in isolation and danger, Perseus learned first about courage from the woman who loved him. Prophecy wound itself into his fate, as oracles spoke of monsters and impossible quests.
Yet, like so many heroes, he stepped into danger with more determination than certainty. The gods did not leave him unaided. Hermes, ever the messenger, brought gifts and guidance.
With wings at his heels, Perseus would learn to walk not just earth, but the very air.
Athena gave him a shield, not to look at himself, but to face something too terrible to see directly.
Fear turned to exhilaration as the sky opened beneath his feet.
Toward the edge of the known world he flew, seeking a monster whose gaze could turn flesh to stone.
On that cursed island, Medusa waited, surrounded by those who had come before and never left.
Every statue was a warning, every frozen face a reminder of what a single glance could cost. He dared not look at her, using only the shield's reflection to face what could not be seen directly.
Through courage and cleverness, he shattered the curse without ever meeting its eyes. He left carrying not a trophy of gore, but a symbol of power captured and contained. From this victory, a new ally emerged, Pegasus.
With wings at his feet and at his back, Perseus became a bridge between earth and sky. Where Perseus fought monsters in shadows, Achilles would become a legend amid human wars. Blessed with near invincibility, he still carried a single hidden weakness. His speed was like lightning on the ground, his presence turning battles into stories. Though mortal, he fought with gods at his shoulder and destiny at his heels.
Even the greatest warriors felt the weight of what their names would cost.
Far from the great fleets and burning cities, Odysseus' story began on the quiet island of Ithaca.
He had more to lose than glory. A home, a wife, and a son who needed him.
His weapons were not only sword and spear, but plans drawn in ink and constellations traced in the dark. to war. He knew victory would not come without a long shadow of loss. The Trojan War would define a generation of heroes and scar the world for years to come. Odysseus's genius lay not just in battle, but in the tricks that could end one. A gift, a trap, a story that would echo through centuries' time, all within a hollow statue of wood.
When the war finally ended, some heroes returned home quickly, but Odysseus's path would twist longer than most.
The sea, under Poseidon's watchful and sometimes wrathful eye, would test him again and again.
Voices sweeter than any song, hid dangers sharper than any blade.
He had himself bound, knowing that sometimes the only way to resist temptation is to admit you cannot. Some dangers were war and storms. Others were comforts that refused to let go.
Years slipped by like days, an immortal offering him rest while his mortal life withered far away.
But the memory of Ithaca, of Penelope and his son, would not allow him to stay forever. After trials with gods, monsters, and his own weaknesses, the long road home finally opened. At last, the lights of Ithaca appeared, fragile beacons guiding him back to where his story began.
Through long years of doubt, Penelope held her promise, weaving by day and unraveling by Nith to delay unwanted suitors.
His son, Telemachus, had grown into his own kind of strength, carrying a legacy he had barely known.
From the heights, the gods watched as heroes' lives wove into the tapestry of myth.
Athena saw in them the balance she prized, courage tempered by thought.
Zeus, once just a rebellious son, now carried the history of creation. In time, even the greatest names would pass through Hades' gates, their tales echoing in his halls.
Stories became songs, carried from city to city by bards who shaped how mortals remembered their gods.
Others etched these tales in ink and stone, turning spoken legend into records that time could not easily erase.
New generations learned from these stories, what to fear, what to aspire to, and how even gods had flaws.
A whole world of myth took shape. Mountains, seas, cities, and underworlds.
In time, the sky itself was rewritten. Stars stitched into shapes.
Under those stars, children imagined themselves as heroes, reaching for destinies that might never be written, but always dreamed.
Greek myth was never just about gods, nor just about mortals, but about the space where their worlds collided. Beneath it all, Gaia, the Earth Mother, lay quiet, bearing scars of ancient battles and the footsteps of untold stories.
Deep below, some forces remained bound but never gone. Reminders
that temples carried the entire cycle on their walls, so that every worshipper walked past the history of gods with each prayer. Artists turned worship into images, fixing divine faces onto stone so they could outlast even the voices that named them.
But every story, even one of gods and monsters, needs a pause, a place to breathe before the next chapter begins.
Greek myths are one shelf in a vast library of human imagination, sitting beside countless other tales.
Retold 1,000 times, the stories shift and soften, but the heart of them survives through play and retelling.
Older ears heard these tales differently, as reflections of power, injustice, courage, and the choices waiting on their own horizons.
In those quiet moments, myth stops being just entertainment and becomes a mirror.
thunder, sea, wisdom, monsters, strength, vulnerability.
Greek myth is one lens among many, away a small corner of the world made sense of chaos, love, and fate. In the end, myths are patterns we draw on the night sky of our minds, connecting points of light into meaning.
Once, there was only chaos. Now, there are stories, and they will...
Zeus, Hera,